Ja, hij stuurt de link naar mij en als je dan
Un camionero conducía en auto.
Oh ja, ja, ja. Okay. How far are we shipping?
ahora espacio link y ya está. Hij gaat niet meer kan en wel komen, maar hij gaat niet doen, want het is gewoon te korte tijd.
Ja. Maar hij is natuurlijk in het zuiden, hè?
Nee, hij was in Nijkerk en hij was in de Zuid bij Elise, want ze zouden samen komen.
Oké. Je vertelde dat Ingeborg naar elkaar ging. Ben je er wel net bij?
Ik zoek een beetje, sorry, ik zit er ook met de telefoon van Robertus. Ja. Hij komt, dit is hem niet. Is het de leeuw? Voor hoeveel tijd gaan we beginnen?
20 minuten.
Ja.
Huh? I need something from behind the back.
Yes, yes, brother. Okay.
Can you get my bag over there, Pablo? 1 minute. actually. Yeah, yeah.
Alright. I'm gonna bring some water and I guess we're ready to start. Okay? Sorry. I just send the links of everything.
Relax. He tried to hurry, but I will not move until my hand is done. I cannot. I'm pinned to the table. And took me until yesterday. So I bring one for you. Yesterday. So I bring one for you. Because they hold me for like one for you. Because they hold me for like.
The stories of Atlantis and even Lemuria. Mu Urukele means also people, the people Uru from Lemuria of from Mu. So um, there is a difference between my staying here in Holland comparing with my sister. I'm not coming here, how you say that, voluntarily. My parents were brought here in 1951. So, and the way the Dutch government treat us, the Ambonese people, the Moluccan people or the South Moluccan people, is very hostile to us. And that forced me to try to find out who I am, where do I came from, what is my identity. So it makes me that in 1986, this was the first time, we call it pulang. We are going home. I went to Maluku. And when I was there, I stood on a high mountain, close to the village of my mother. And when I looked down and I saw the village of my mother, and I saw the forest behind the village, and suddenly a strange feeling overwhelmed me. I'm home. This is my home. This is where I came from. Here lies my identity. And with that, when I came back to Holland, then I realized that I can handle myself in Holland. And also when we were we were raised up in the former camps where they put the Jewish people. And so the traumas of the Jewish people, we also take it with us. Because we have a double traumas. The traumas of the Jewish people, but also the traumas of us. I'm sitting here between my brothers and my sisters. No matter which color you have, no matter which religion you have, no matter whether you are an Ambonese people or a Dutch people or a Jewish people, you are my brothers and my sisters. That's also the message which I have to bring to the world, the message which we call the message from Nunu Saku, that we are all one big human family. Like my natives in the Americas, whether the North Americas, the Middle Americas, or the South Americas, we share the same stories. We share the same message. And I like to share this message also with you. So thank you for having me here, and also to my brother, Pablo. And, well, let's have a good talk, so that when we go out, each to their own place, that we are knowing that we are all brothers and sisters. My brother?
Minaning Draga, Kwajo, Iaja, Roko Huwaka, Metaki Odi. My names are, and I greet you all. Like my brother, we like to pronounce our spiritual names and invite energy before we start speaking, so we can speak in the guidance of all that is existing. I'm very happy to be alive in this time. happy to be amongst a lot of people, happy to be amongst all sorts of energy. And I was sitting in the table just a few minutes ago, and my brother, he asked me, your eyes, do you see with both eyes? I was like, yeah. And I wish for everybody to see like that. Because I got one eye which is present and one eye that is always on the lookout for things. But it became one image. So now I just see. And what I see, everybody should see it. Everybody can see it, so let's just try together, you know, and create a better place. Ashe.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Pablo, for inviting us to be here on this panel. Really grateful. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really grateful. My name is Hans Gutse. My father's name is Hans Gutse, and my mother's name is Mora du Castel. I'm from 4 continents and born here in the Netherlands. And I'm still starting to know those 4 streams, 4 continents that are streaming in me. Sometimes it's really difficult to let them talk together because they are the opposites of each other. And then through those meetings, I try to unite them. And through this unity, I looked out for where can I find my answers. And that starts like 20 years ago when I did my first bare feet walking in nature and start to connect to all different kinds of elders. And they learned me a lot about their ways. But I still was looking for what is my way. And through all those teachings that I had, I came to the knowledge of the labyrinth and the medicine wheel and the medicine walks and being in silence. So I did a lot of walks, and through those walks I learned to know my inside, but also to learn how the trees talked and how the stones talked and how my feet were listening to the little sands, cribbles on the ground. And it's really beautiful. And 4 years ago I met Jessica, and with Jessica together we built up tribal wisdom more and more. And now we have a very beautiful tribal wisdom trail where I will talk about later. So thank you for listening, and this is for now for me. Thank you.
Okay, so
Can I just say one thing?
yes.
Because you're missing it, there's an awesome, the birds are murmuring. Yeah, that's like sounds. Yeah, it's really, really impressive.
That's where you will look at.
A good sign.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so we together, yeah, Hans and I together for the last few years, we've been putting some things together, some circles together for tribal wisdom, for the foundation. No. I'd love to go there someday, but it wasn't part of the.
Let's go together.
Yeah. Okay, next circle is in Montenegro.
Okay, so yeah, as I said, this is very special to have you all here, and I think our lives get together in a very special moment because we are all being part of our path, and yeah, actually, I'm very honored to meet you all. I think it's very important to speak about what is the main activity that is processing on a bit besides of the art and what we are trying to say. Since yeah, I get here to the Netherlands, I was very into bring the culture that I have in myself, and also to share it here, to open it, but mainly also understand what is the spirituality and the culture that is here in the Netherlands, to also help it rise, because I think we need to find a common space, and then we need to understand what we are in our really ground level as in our human nature. So in that way, in that sense, yeah, I just met Jessica. It was in that moment we were sharing the same ideas, starting the same projects, and maybe would you like to share a little bit more? And also, what is tribal wisdom?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Pablo and I, we met at a cafe in The Hague, right? And there was a mutual friend called Heidi, and she's now in Colombia. And we were talking about our passion, which is indeed this deep-rooted knowledge that and the wisdom of the elders, right? And Pablo was telling about this dream project that you had to interview elderly people and, yeah, capture their wisdom. And at that point, I also thought still, I need to digitize this knowledge because the world needs to get access to all of these beautiful teachings. I mean, I'll admit, when I call one of you, I make sure that I have at least 45 minutes time to have a conversation with the people who we collaborate with, because generally there is so much, there's stories coming out, there's wisdom coming out, there's advice coming out. I mean, all of you are amazing storytellers. So this is something that I've learned in the last years, is that the digitization, so capturing things online, whether it's through video or photography or writing down the stories, that I mean, to put it really simply, it for me is the most pure way for this knowledge to be received and to be integrated is face to face. Ideally in a circle with a fire. I mean, I'm romanticizing, but it's true. There is magic to being in circle together, and there is magic to storytelling around the fire. So in the last few years, I'll just say I started with digitizing, or attempting to digitize and create a repository online of all these beautiful teachings, and every time somebody would speak, I would say, hey, wait, I need to record this. And then I realized we need to create more circles. We need to come together, and we need to start to really listen to each other again. And yes, we can be inspired by the traditions and the ancient knowledge of the indigenous peoples, of the shamans, of the healers, of the wisdom keepers, of the elders, however you want to call them. And we bring everybody's wisdom to the circle. And the recognition that, yes, you have a story to tell, right? And very beautifully, we can orchestrate this knowledge and this wisdom from everybody through ceremony, through practices that are unknown to many of us who live in the Netherlands or who live in a Western country. So they are they're channels, they're bridges. These people are bridges, right? This is the words that I have for this right now. And yeah, we've always stayed in touch. And we truly support each other. We love hanging out together. So it's beautiful, Pablo, for you to bring us together. And we welcome everybody to join this path of wisdom, if I can call it that way. Hans, do you want to add for
Do it later.
the trail? Okay.
Yeah, later.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, this action of creating circles to share knowledge and to put in life again what is the ancestral wisdom is really important. I find it such a beyond my expectations situation, because it's not something that I'm dreaming about. Yeah, what was the things that I've learned, being in the mountain or learning with shamans or learning with my teachers or whatever. But mainly was like, yeah, how can this thing will become alive and share it into my circle, into my new family, into my new people around me. So that was very important, very special, and it also put me back into one moment that was very special. As I felt and as I thought, because there's something that is happening in the now, not only from in the old days, but in the now. It's very important to find a common ground with this knowledge, which I think it comes this is the step that we are going through, and we're trying to not use it as a dead knowledge, not feel it as a dead wisdom, but mainly like, yeah, it is a key. This is very important wisdom that us as a civilization we have used for 1,000 years ago. And this 1,000 years ago, we were really in a great balance with nature, with life, and mainly with ourselves. We have a balance with ourselves, and then what does it constitutes our possibility to do that? And that is only not reasoning ourselves in our own ego, but it's mainly to share it and find the wisdom that we have from our elders. That's the thing that I found, and that's how important is to bring it here to everyday life. So in that way, I found like the way of talking or the way of making this knowledge back to the present day, it become a little bit difficult, because talking about the past is always bringing this idea of something that is dead, something that is even romantic or whatever you want to say. It's not now, it's not hot, But then what is it? And I think that is the main purpose of art. Art is relevant in the day, and art is relevant in the now, and it's an action, a creation. So wow, that was a great idea for me to embrace a little bit more the contemporary art, not only in photography or film or video, but now in paintings as well, just to try to put these feelings and thoughts and wisdom more close to us. And I think that will help us to open this door. And I don't know, at this moment in the talk, I would like to open for more questions that we can have about it, and how we feel our own position into how we do it in the present day. Yes, please. All right. All right.
I'm on
Thank you,
fire.
thank you.
Yeah, I love the idea of coming here to this event because of the name of it, yanantin. Yanantin is a Quechua name, and it has to do with the complementary forces of the female and male energy working together. And they are complementary. They are not opposites as enemies. And connected to Taoism is also yin-yang, is the same concept. Exactly the same concept, but in yin-yang is mostly the movement, like electricity. You have positive and negative poles, and that creates electricity, that creates movement. Yanantin is female and male that creates the new. It's not just a circle going on like a motor, like a machine, but it's evolving into something new. And that's how nature is the sun and the earth working together. So we have new all the time, new seasons all the time. So I think the connection with life, of how to bring all wisdom nowadays, is just to watch nature, because that is the top of the art. the top of technology is nature, is biology. If we would think like biology, we would be super civilizations, because we have lots of cells in the body, we have different organs, we have different functions, and they work all perfectly well together. They are not discriminating each other. I'm bigger than you, and smaller than you. I do this, I do that. No, they all have a very important role. Each cell in the body has a very important role to play. And the same in nature. Diversity is essential for the health of society, for the health of the earth. And what we are learning is, like the Western culture is basically a culture that had to survive very difficult situations, lots of wars, lots of harsh weather, and things like that. So survival is a very strong instinct. And survival needs power. You defend yourself better when you're more powerful. But that survival is also connected to fear. But when you go to other countries or hemispheres where the weather is nicer, you get more sun and you get more food all year round, you're more relaxed. And you're not so much afraid to survive. You can go by with very little. And I think that's the big difference of the cultures. And when the colonies started, they were trying to survive. They were trying to get resources to survive, to make Europe stronger. And but then they imposed that culture on other cultures, and that was the only problem. But it was a problem, but we can also profit from it. Because of that, the whole world knows Europe. And because of that, Europe also knows the rest of the world. So that was a beginning of integration of the whole world as one Earth. Before that, we were just different countries, different continents, islands with different languages. So we were not really united. But now, colonization was a step into that situation. But now, how to bring this knowledge of wisdom today is to value each culture, to not think that my culture is better than yours, to not think that I am better than you, even, because we are playing a role, and all positions are very important to integrate a whole, and our spiritual path is only to realize what is my place, what is my role, where I am totally at peace, and I know that I belong to the whole scheme, to the greater picture. Because when we don't belong to the greater picture, we are afraid and we create chaos. But when we are at peace and we belong, we just spread love all over around. So I think that's the most actual thing that we can bring back, is to defeat our own fears and try to be open to embrace more of the world. Ashe.
Well, talking about female and male, if I look to my culture, it all started in our family, the male and the female. When I introduce myself, I call me, I think, Aulaina Ama Resi. Ama means man. And just pretend if I'm a woman, then I have to call myself Aulaina Ina Resi. Ina means women. So in my family, there's always a male and a female. Both energy must go together, always. One energy may not separate it from the other energy. Even the village of us is built also on these two principles. All the houses is built near the sea. If I'm not wrong, they have the female energy, and all the houses are more close inland are the male energy. So in our culture, these two must always go together, and we have to also to respect one another. For instance, That's why we also call Mother Earth. In my language, we call it Nusa Ina. Why we call it Mother? Because she feeds us. She take care of us. So I, like a child, I have to respect my mother. And whether you're a female or a male, you have to respect your mother always. Wherever you are, whatever you do, you have always to be in respect with your mother. And you have always, in my culture, is the started in being in balance. It must all start with yourself, in yourself. Because in you, you have as well as a female, as a male energy. And both must go together. So you have to also be in harmony, live in harmony with your female family members. And if you look at in a bigger picture, the village, for instance, all the women and all the men must also go together. If we do a ceremony, there's always a female and a male. There's some part in my one of my islands, the biggest islands, there is the female who decided if there can be perform a ceremony or not, even if the man is the head of the state, even if he's a king. But if his wife said no ceremony, there will be no ceremony. So in living in respect to one another, that is the basic foundation of the village, the society of each, I may say, each indigenous living culture.
I would like to talk about initiation. My mother is born in Suriname, and she came to the Netherlands when she was 14, unwillingly. So she came in a nunnery, and there they broke their talent, and then she had to cope with all those traumas. And when she got me, it was 1965, and I grew up, and she raised me like a Dutch boy, but I didn't feel connected to the Dutch roots. I had a Dutch father, and he raised me like the ways that was normally in the Netherlands. So during my childhood, I was always reaching out. My mother had color, so on the schoolyards I get bullied also about that. So I really had a struggle. And then when I grow up and I became 25, 30, I really got lost and searched for where is my identity. Then the father of my mother is coming from Lebanon, and the grandmother of my mother is coming from Ghana. So this whole mixture in me was like searching, where can I grab on? And then I got children for myself. I was also still searching, where am I? And then through these steps that I did within shamanism, I was learning about different tribes in North America, then from South America, and then I was all mixed up with the colors. So I find the Celtic roots. And the colors of the Celtic roots are really simple, because in the morning it's yellow, the sun comes up yellow, and the sun is in the high afternoon, it becomes white. In the evening it's red, and then it goes under, and the north is black. So this was like this first realization. And I couldn't really find which tribe I would follow, because I thought if I go to this tribe, then maybe I can't connect with the other tribes. So this was really diverse. So I stayed on like focusing on all different kinds of tribes, traditions. So when I start to raise my own daughter, I thought, how can you bring back in initiation from one age to the other age? What do we do about that? Because there's in our things, we have the driver's license, we have exams. It's all cognitive, mentally initiations, but it's not emotionally growing up. And I was walking a lot, so through walking, I took my daughter out walking when she became 12, and from that walk we make an initiation walk. So for me it's really important to bring back through ancient knowledge and traditional knowledge initiation back to our raising our children. What I did for my 16th birth, she's now 16, my daughter, and what I did was I had asked 4 elderly women, and I brought my daughter to those women to talk about life. And she had 4 beautiful life conversations with one aunt of her, with a niece of her, and with Jessica also, and with another elder, a Dutch elder, Annelies Taylor. And it was a beautiful conversation for her, and she really felt inspired through that. So that's my talk about why it's important to have initiations. Ashe.
What's the question?
You can just
Practices now.
here.
Now.
Well, one of the things of beauty, I hear everybody talking about the male, female, north, south, red, blue, white, black, you know. And we all got these same like philosophies. Yeah. So even if we go into science, they will tell you about the proton, the neutron, and the electron. It's again this three. You know, one is neutral, one is fiery, one is a caretaker. You know, and we will find this structure a lot everywhere we go. The beauty of it in, for instance, practical, you know. In the name, in our name, especially in Africa, we have male and female names. And these names will correspond to a certain day. So for instance, I'm Kwadjo, or Kojo. And the female counterpart born on the same day as me will be Ajua. So I started looking into my ancestry from Suriname, going back to the plantation, going back to where the people came from. And then I saw these names changing. So it was Peter, Hendrikus, Anna, names like that. And they became Kwadjo, Kwaku, Akua, Ajuba. And these names, they were like, I was feeling a certain thing. Like, what are these names? Where did they come from? And then I started like diving into those names, right? And then these names, they were corresponding to planets. Just like Monday is probably corresponding to the moon or something. Saturday and Saturn or something. And we could find the same knowledge written all throughout of Africa. Now, when we're looking for a wife, it becomes very practical. Yeah? Because I'm a Monday born, and then they will look for a female, or male, I don't know, but in my case a female, you know, who has the same, who is like a magnet, who is like the red to the blue, the white to the black, so we can make this energy work. So somebody born on Monday normally will be nurturing and feminine and all these things. So we will find them somebody from Saturday, you know. So this is very important. So this is why in my culture we always ask, what's your name? You know, so we know up front how to deal with certain things. Now, this is integrated in everything we do. In everything we do. So if we start acknowledging, like, there is all this energy, you know? And since we are men and females here, we identify with it as man and female, right? Maybe an elephant identifies totally different with the same energy. But we identify man and female, you know? And from this bond, always something new will sprout. And this is the continuation in which any form of energy will split and divide. If you look into the plants, if you look into the rocks, if you look into nature, if you look into rivers, if you look into your own hairs, in your own family, we will bond, split, bond, split, bond, split. And this is what's keeping this energy alive. And then now it's all up, just upon all of us, whether we tap into that, whether we align with that, whether we submit to that, or we're just going to be man and female. You know? So these are the things I love to, like, really get mental with, you know? Dive deep into. So we can start understanding each other, because I'm very lucky I can travel the world. I'm very lucky I am in a position that I can speak with people, I can be in ceremony with people, I can be in circle with people, but all around the world. But it's all of the time the same fire. It's the same wood. It's the same singing. The song might be different, the language might be different, but the base will be the same. And the sun come up, everybody go. And the sun go down, everybody go. You know, so there's a lot of things bonding us. And I think when we start realizing and when we start tapping into that, then we naturally flow towards each other. This is how we heal ourselves, but each other, the world.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe is there some questions at this moment that we want to accept? Somebody wants to ask something?
Yeah.
Please, ask everything.
I was just wondering, like, if you look at concepts like coming from tribal, because I've been thinking myself, how do you see that integrating in our society? It's a big question I was on my mind. Like you mentioned already, the circles, for example, but how could it, like concept of life in harmony, for example, how could it make part of our world?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big question. Yeah, and I think I have many answers, but in essence, it's about more integral activation. So we do a lot with our brain, and we need to start to zakken. We need to start to use also the belly, the heart, and the hands. Yeah, Hans and I, when we have circles, we also always have something crafty that you can do, because craft work, handcraft, is a healing handeling, how do you say, gesture, action. Yeah, yeah. And so I think it's the notion of, I mean, this is only one of the things that are coming up right now, because this is the question, right? And that I think we could talk about tonight, the whole night, and every day for the rest of the year.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So to keep it a short answer, because I think there are more words to share, is this integration that we are more than just this one person, one individual, one body, but also we are more than our thoughts, and this deep connection, deep integration with being in relationship. Yeah, I'll leave it at that because
I have a question for you. What do you feel as a limitation to be able to bring it alive?
Let me think about that.
What pops in your mind right now?
I think there is no limitation, maybe.
Exactly. Because we also have this, I don't know how to call it, maybe if you said once it looks like a taboo as somebody comes with these beautiful garments and they say, oh, they are special people. But we are all natives of Earth. Nobody's not a native. So why don't we acknowledge ourselves? We belong to the Earth because we do. Our body is not going anywhere else. We're born here and we're gonna die here, and what are we doing in between is the most important thing. But that we do it together. So this togetherness, that is not me. Individualism is being a very pricey token in the modern culture. You say, I am this, I do this, and if you are not somebody, you're nobody, and that kind of thing. And there is also group egos. They say, we are better than that. They say, we are this group and you're that group. So that kind of thing. So if we acknowledge that we are just humans and we do things in very different ways, even within a family, in the same culture, we are totally different people. And to get along is an art. And that's the beauty of art. Art is not a mass production. It's not oh, this is the winning formula, you do it like this, and that's what modern culture tries to give recipes for everything. The art of living is being present in the moment and using your own intuition, your own wisdom, your own experience, but also be open that you don't know everything. Because when you say, I know, you're blocked. That's the biggest limitation is I know. When you say, I don't know everything, you're curious to know more, and there is no end to knowing. And you don't have to know everything to feel alive and be happy with who you are. So, and that openness, it's an opening for humility, to tone a bit down the arrogance, like, hey, I'm here. They say, yeah, we are all here. There is no difference there. So it's just that consciousness. It's just to look it from a different perspective, and that's not a big change. It's just a different idea. Who am I and what am I doing here? And that answer has to come from you, not from anybody else.
Okay, yes, that's the question, I guess, for the whole night. It's very deep.
come back again next week.
Yeah, we're gonna be still here. So, yeah, but I believe that I can see two type of answers, and the first one is very much into the ancient wisdom, and the one that I've lived or I know is more from the Andean cosmovision, and in the Andean cosmovision, there is a very powerful philosophy, which is very, very deep into the roots of the thinking, and it goes, yeah, somewhere that is where we understand universe and thought, which is the base of our cosmovision, and it's different than the cosmovision that we use actually here in the world that we know today. So what I want to say is there is one concept that is called Aini. And the concept of Aini is mainly reciprocity. But this is meant to understand that in the way that I receive and I give, you yourself will receive and you give. But we are doing it together. So it is like in the sense that there is an action that we are going to do. It's me involving into, so you can have it, and therefore you also will help me to have it. But the core of it is to have this relation. So this concept Aini is very powerful because in this specific case it calls me to understand how this Aini can resonate with myself, because the problem is my mind. That's the thing. The mind is the only problem here.
And the solution.
And the solution, yes, everything. It involves everything. And the thing is, how can I be? How can I find reciprocity with my mind? My mind with what? And then is the thing that I found, and it starts the second part of the answer. Maybe I found that. Life is constantly telling us so much. It's constantly like giving us so much answers and giving us so much opportunities and things to do and things to don't do and things to try to test and things to not do. It's like in a table full of things. But we don't seem to recognize this connection. That's where we need to use Aini, reciprocity. Life is talking to me. Shit, I'm gonna hear. And then I have to hear, I have to be present to hear it. Then is the next thing to do, because then you accept yourself, and then you accept life, and then you try to, flow with it. And I think it's somewhere there. I mean, it is one-way ticket, and it's one private formula, one self formula. I don't know how it could be for everybody, but I think somewhere there is the only way to understand and find this reciprocity. Exactly.
I like to. I hope I don't make you more confused. Yeah, but I think the first thing you have to do is, because I have been raised up by my parents, and the stories they told me is about life. When I was just a little kid, they always said to me, think of our grandchildren, and I was at the primary school. So at that moment, I realized that life doesn't stop with me. It goes further. At that moment, I also think that I'm sure that what they try to explain me is think to the future, our future, So the narrative which you have been raised up is different than mine. So you have to go to your own narrative. You have to acknowledge yourself like a child from this land, from this ground. This is you. This is my land. This is the land of my ancestors. The language you speak must be the language of your ancestors. Even your dialect, or I have been raised up in Friesland, and the people in Friesland still knows their own language, So when we started our ceremonies, I also told them that when you will open your ceremony or close this ceremony, do it in your own language. Not in English, not in what we call the beschaafd Nederlands. Do it in your own language. Even when you introduce yourself, do it in your own language. Even when you are sitting here between us, you don't know my language, but you know your language. Even if it is Dutch, just introduce yourself. I'm Marina, or I'm Guus, or I'm Karin, or, De Jong, De Vries. Just mention it, introduce yourself. The moment you do that, it's the moment you also acknowledge whom you are. And that's very important. The moment you take your position in this land, I can take my position also. The moment you accept yourself, you can also accept me like an indigenous. Be the indigenous of yourself. Don't look, I might be an example of you, but don't copy me. Don't learn my language, don't learn my songs. Sing your own song,
But they have such beautiful songs.
I know a lot of there are Dutch people, especially from Friesland. I know some of them. They still know the stories. They still know the songs. I met a guy. He's from Overijssel. How you say that? Dat platte praten van. Ik kom daar en daar vandaan. De Tukkers, ja, de Tukkers. Nou, die eten ook. They eat the last two words, the last two letters. That's what I also learn because I'm living in Friesland, at the eastern part of Friesland, and there live the Stellingen. And when they talk about, morgen, they will say morgen. Morgen ga ik één boodschappen doen en zo. Morgen ga ik een brood kopen, weet je wel. So, and raising up between them, you immediately took over also their dialect. Use your dialects. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Be proud of yourself, but not arrogant. Not arrogant towards others. Except, like I told you before, we have to see each other like brothers and sisters. But you have to acknowledge yourself like a child from this land. Just accept me. Let me take this place between you. Accept me like a brother from the other side of the world, But you can only do that if you accept yourself, if you acknowledge yourself. The search, make your own searching. Try to find out whom you are, your own stories. Go to your parents or your grandparents and ask them the old stories. And then you will feel immediately that something inside you is calling from you. And I think it's calling you all the way along, but because otherwise you don't come with this question. The answer is in you. Maybe my brother will
Confuse you even.
yeah, maybe
Come on.
I hope it will help you.
You should, for me, I should just do. Just do. It's not Nike's slogan.
I was just thinking.
Just do. So, I had the same question, right? And then I tried to ask my grandmother, but she was already gone for 15 years or so. But still, I sit in my room. I said, "Yo, Granny, I have this question." And before I even start talking, she popped up already sitting there. Hey, I was like, "Hi. How do I integrate in this life?" And she just laughed. She said, "Son, I had the same question." And then she showed me her mother. "Son, I had this." And this went on for I don't know how long. And then I start to see all the accomplishments they make in life. they were start doing things. They start whatever they feel, they just do it. Because this ancestor you're looking for, I am looking for, it's already right here. Because it's DNA. So this ancestral DNA I'm carrying, you are carrying, everybody, it will guide you. Just do something. And if we do something, make it movement. Not here only. Yeah, because it gets crowded. Do something.
I started doing something. I started to walk. I started to search where all you are talking about. The search for knowledge, the search for acknowledgement. And in this search, I noticed also that a lot of people are searching. Even the elders are searching. So when I met Jessica and we were sitting together and talking and talking and talking and talking, the first Elder Day existed, came to life. So we had this list of elders, wisdom keepers, shamans, how do you want to call them? And we made a circle. And we brought them together and we asked them the question, how do you want to share your knowledge? And it was a beautiful talk. It was in Beek en Bergen, Beek Driebergen. It was a beautiful talk. And then we had all these answers. Yeah, I want to share my knowledge like this, and I want to do this, and workshops, and ceremonies, and all this kind of different things. And then we thought, let's do a circle with young people and ask them how they want to receive the knowledge. And then a lot of ideas came along, and so one night, a few weeks later, we discovered Tribal Wisdom Trail, and that was born. So we bring elders, wisdom keepers together with young people. And first it was like, okay, there has to be teachings, but then in this evaluation process, we start to know it has to be like sharings, because it's not only the wisdom of the elder that has to be the talk all the time. It is, tribal wisdom is about the wisdom of the tribe. So now we start to bring in one elder, two elders, and we have a lot of young people, and young people say, people from 61 are also young, but young people also, people from 16 and 30 until 35. And we have beautiful sharings through one of the traditions of the elders, and the young people start to share, and they start to get answers to how to make an altar for the ancestors, about how to discover inner strength, how to find your own path in life. And what I'm not know what you're going to do yet, but he will be there in 2 months or so. And Marcelo will be there next month for everyone. And we start to get now a base group of like 10 young people that really come every time to this circle, and to these circles they have like a trail of wisdom, and they can find their own wisdom through those circles. And they can connect, and they can ask, oh, Marcella, I love your talk, can I do a year training with you? And so they can discover something, or they're going to do a ceremony with Raga and Gara. And this is the beauty of it, of the bringing together circles, but also the search that we have for what is our roots, to be open for that and be visible. It's easier for people to find answers. Asha.
What's your own answer to your own question?
I don't have an answer yet.
I think the biggest limitation is the fear of failing. uh, because we want to have the right thing to do, and we don't want to waste our time doing something else, and maybe it's a waste of time and stuff like. Just do it. Exactly, because you never know, you make the path walking it. Because when you walk through a path that is already laid before you, like these formulas, yeah, it's Tony Robbins have this done and he become a multimillionaire, so you have to follow this and this and that. Or your parents telling you, yeah, you have to be a lawyer or a doctor because otherwise you're going to starve to death. Or you have to. And when you walk somebody else's path, you're never going to be happy. Absolutely no, and not because you are not being yourself. You're not listening to yourself, you're listening to someone else. But who are you? Who is the authority in you that you need to listen to? And that's what pilgrimage, for example, is beautiful. You go to climb a mountain, and you go through all the difficulties there. And you are constantly checking in with you. You say, can I do one more step? You say, oh my God, we need to go so many more kilometers before we can sleep or eat. And those are challenges to connect with you. But it's also every turn life takes. Like, I've been following my husband. My husband is Finn, from Finland. So I couldn't, and I was educated like in the university with an accountant title that I couldn't use because of language and laws and stuff like that. So I had to reinvent myself every time. So we went to Finland, we went to Argentina, we went to the US, and it was crazy. But at the same time, I was just doing it. Not analyzing, not protesting, not anything. But when I came here, it was interesting because my husband wanted to move again after 4 years or something, that I was just beginning to make friends and start to wanting to learn Dutch and stuff like that. And for some great divine reason, it was postponed. So I had 6 more months to chew. Do I want to leave again and start from zero again? And I was like not finding that amusing. So I told my husband, sorry, but I'm not leaving. And he said, okay, then we stay. And I was so worried that he was so decided to leave the Netherlands again. But only when I could stay, I could grow roots on my own. So I do what I want, and I started teaching Tai Chi, and I became in touch with the cosmology of the Andes, and now I'm teaching that and stuff like that. But it has been all that trip that has been so valuable to bring together, to be so in touch with so many cultures and languages, and all adds up. There is no less, no waste of time, absolutely nothing. Everything is valuable, but you have to acknowledge the value of everything. And that's the aini, the reciprocity is wherever you are, you're giving, you are receiving, but sometimes we don't pay attention to what we receive. We think, oh, I'm giving, and nobody gives me anything. And that's the very, very common when you are in a down position. But you're receiving all the time. All the time. And when you don't acknowledge that, you're out of balance. Or you are in a position where you think, I don't deserve to receive. And you reject without knowing it. So that's the finding the balance, is giving and receiving, and not necessarily from the same people you give, but from the universe, from whatever life is proposing you. One closed door is another door that opens up. So it is, we don't know. So how could we judge if something is good or bad? It's never good or bad. It's just a transition, constant transition into something new. So embracing that transition and being yourself in every moment, that's the path that you're walking yourself. So then you are you, native in your own world. Yes.
I want to ask, there are so many different cultures, so many different circles. What do we have to do to work all together? What can we, sort of protocol can we do to find out which part we can find each other and work with each other, but also like North America has their own tradition and South America has their own tradition. How can they listen to each other? Is there a sort of protocol we can do? Or
So once we feel like things are divided, they will be. And once we feel like things are united, they will be. So whenever my brother, at this moment in time in China, at this moment in time, is doing his art presentation, in this moment in time, they might have the same conversation. In this moment in time, we are connected. And in this moment in time, we're doing the same thing. So once we start like understanding that the energy, we are emitting energy, and this emitted energy, it will be somewhere, and other people are emitted as well. So when we start doing this, then this will grow and will grow and will grow and will grow. So of course, when I'm in a different country, I learn from them about their culture. And sometimes something hits me, and I will use it in my practice as well. So we learn, so we teach. So you have one Dutch guy, one Suriname guy, one Ambon guy, one Peru, one. So this is the way we do it, you know? So instead of dividing, let's start to acknowledge that maybe in the morning, whenever I do my own affirmation or prayer or whatever, there's some million people doing the same thing. So that's a lot of energy. But if I'm concerned only with, with my baby energy, then I miss the rest. So we are all there. Asher.
I think we have to go back to the history, to the real history. I heard stories of one guy from Suriname. He's also an elder. And when he told his story, I was very surprised, astonished, because it's like my elder told the stories. I heard stories when I met Native Americans. When I hear their stories, I was shocked, because it's almost like my stories. And I read a book about, you know, Susan Smith, the witch. When I started reading her book, I immediately, wow, it's almost the same like my culture. You know, in basic, we are all the same. We're all humans. That's the core of our existence. But do we respect one another as a human being? Do we respect myself as a human being? You know, so we have to start with the basic, with our one main story. There is, I'm so convinced, so there is only one story, one big human story. You are a part of it, he's a part of it, and he's also part of it. When you tell your story, the only thing I have to do is listen to you telling your story. I may not interrupt you. That's also what my elders always warn us. If someone told his story, don't interrupt him. Just listen. If he told his story, I just listen. And there is some point that we all come together. Because from that point, we also spread. One goes to the north, one goes to the south, one goes to the east, one goes to the west. One story, one human family. So that's the basic of our existence here in this world.
I'm really glad, Samuel, you bring up listening, because as I was hearing you ask your question, you answered your own question. So how can we listen? I believe it really is about listening, truly, deeply, radically, empathetically, sacredly listening, without judgment, and listening for the common ground. Indeed, listening for the common story, what binds us. And we have a job to do here in this life. And I did hear a sense of urgency implicitly in what you're saying. We have a job to do. It's time for action. We've had enough talk. Says she on a panel, right? but it's give me a drum. Well, and that's another thing. We can start our conversations, our meetings, in a ceremonial way. It doesn't have to be heavy ceremony. We don't have to call upon all our ancestors before we do whatever, you know. Or, yeah, yes, we do, says Draga. And this is one of the things we're developing as well, is wisdom at work. I mean, how can we integrate some of the practices that we do in our more spiritual life, in our work life? Because I believe there's another layer, there's another level that we can collaborate in once we start our meetings, start our day, start our conversations, start our circles in a different frequency, and learn to listen. And it's hard work, and it's not. And it can also be very playful and very beautiful and very fun.
Yeah, how do we listen? That brings me to Tai Chi. Because in order to listen, you have to be quiet. And that stillness within, with this, is the only way to really listen to the other and to feel what does the other one really means. And when we listen, and we can understand, because what we are afraid of is what we don't understand. And we think it's different, I don't get it. But we are full of suppositions, full of prejudgments, full of prejudice, even full of lots of things that are noise, that doesn't allow us to listen. And that's when we have to go back to basics, like I am human, I am flesh and blood, I breathe, I eat, I have to sleep. Everybody does that. So why are we so different? And the only difference is you are in a cold country that you have to wrap up yourself more. You're in a hot country, you are more with less clothes on and stuff like that. That's culture. And every culture has something beautiful to offer, because not everybody could survive in each other's culture. If you bring somebody from Africa to live in Finland, they had a lot of problems. Or you bring someone from Europe to South America in the jungle, and it's also very difficult to adapt. But if you're open to listen, you enrich your life. And that is the beauty of it, of diversity, that you don't lose yourself. You make yourself richer, wider, more understandable. And it is when you're only one thing, you are limited to that thing. But when you're open and you don't have to open up to everything at the same time. You have to trust life that is bringing you to where you need to be at every time and to meet who you need to meet. So today we need to meet each other, apparently. This is a special group. So trust that. You don't have to do extra effort to create the possibilities. You just have to take them as they come to you.
Yes, I hear this concept that is called Ichigo Ichie. It's a Japanese Zen concept that it means, yeah, one time, one lifetime. That it happens once in a lifetime. And yeah, I feel this because actually it's very important to understand that we are alive now. And if we embrace it completely and we understand, or yeah, coming from our heart in a ceremonial way, you know, personal way, and then we are connected to everything, to all circles, to all people. And in that same way, we attract that same connection. But it starts with our own self. No doubt. Yeah. Thank you.
I am so grateful because between us there is also a little child. And one of the main reason when makes me come here because of that child, because sitting here and talking to you about my culture, our culture, sharing it with you, it's because of that child. I like to build a world where all the children, no matter what colors they have, which religion they have, can come together. You know, like that child. So I'm so glad that he symbolizes all the children, if I may say so, to the mother. So
Yes.
let's be happy together. That's the only thing, because they want to leave, so I think I have to mention it.
Yes.
Oh.
I can't hear you, sorry.
So I believe that the reason that we are all together this day is because we are open to connect to each other, even though we don't know each other. We are brothers and children. They bring to every space the nuance of being themselves, no matter. So she wants to leave, so we are living. And no matter that we are in the middle of it. I believe that the most important thing to reconnect with yourself and with your ancestors is to be a child once again. So take up the best of adulthood, live it, and play it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a song that you know that?
A song that
Yes.
I know some, yeah,
No, it doesn't come to mind. Does anybody else have a song? Is it-
Many songs. There's a singer.
Yes, there's a singer among us. Yeah. A sing-along song?
I have my accordion with me.
Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe before you start, also replying about the question, how can we bring circles together? Let's build bridges between the circles. Let's try to that circles can meet other circles, to be enthusiastic about it, and try to be open and make openings for people to meet each other in different circles. So that's my invitation to everyone. Let's bring circles together.
If I may add a little bit, I think we have to make the circle broader, much broader, an endless circle of life. So you like to sing?
Yeah, I don't know really directly like a song, but I want to share with you that I was sometimes, because I live with my children, but I mean, people are maybe often alone when they wake up and they live in their apartments or in their house. Not that they don't know anybody, but the system is built that you will wake up in your own house. And I think it's not nice, you know, you always have to organize and plan and stuff like this. So I thought I need more structure because I'm an independent artist. So I thought every Wednesday I'm going to teach how to play accordion in a place, in a park, like a sporting place. And not because I really like anybody to play accordion, but just as a trick to meet people. But also because I thought it would be so great if like many people play accordion, and then I can call them all and say, hey, let's go at the same moment into town and connect also other musicians to bring more live music in the street.
Fantastic.
And also sing more, like not rebellious songs, but just sing together, and it really works. And then I sit there and people looking at this thing, oh, it's so nice. And some people can play it already quite good. So I just started a few weeks ago with this idea.
Fantastic.
Just do it.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Pablo, do you know the song? I don't know.
You do it, please. Come on.
Anything.
Huh? No, not Jordan. Native. My own nature. Yes. I was.
One of your songs.
Yeah. No. I was singing last weekend. I was asked in my hometown in Breda. I come from Brabant. And I was writing a carnival song like a long time ago. And it's called Pancake, pannenkoek.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's in my old dialect. I did not really speak it, but I mean,
What's the name again, sorry?
pannenkoek.
Pannenkoek.
And it's about being lost. It's with carnival. So you are lost, but the refrain we can sing together, and it's a little funny. So it's maybe good to sing that one, you know?
Yeah. Why do we still have the little one?
What?
Come over here.
What? Where do I? No, just here.
Just do it.
Something is stuck. Sorry. My children. Ik weet niet wat ik zeg en ik weet niet wat ik doe. Ik weet niet wat ik wil en ik weet niet hoe ik moet. Ik weet niet wat ik zie en ik weet niet wat ik hoor. Ik weet niet wat ik ruik en ik weet niet hoe ik hoor. En ik weet niet meer wie en ik weet niet meer waar. Ik weet niet meer waar, omdat ik weet niet hoe waar. Ik weet niet hoe lang en ik weet niet hoe graag. Ik weet niet hoeveel en ik weet niet hoe vaak. Pannenkoek, wat ben jij nou voor een pannenkoek? Er staat een zwammen in een onderkoek, dat is toch niet normaal? Pannenkoek, wat ben jij nou voor een pannenkoek? Het is tijd voor psychologisch onderzoek, dit is niet normaal, allemaal. Pannenkoek, koek, koek, pannenkoek, koek, koek. Wat ben jij nou voor een pannenkoek, koek, koek, pannenkoek, koek, koek. Pannenkoek, koek, koek. Waar ben jij nou van pannenkoek? Pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken bakken. Pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken bakken. Met die joden, hè? Pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken bakken. Pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken, pannenkoeken bakken. Pannenkoeken, koek, koek.
En nog in dialect ook nog. Nou, zeg.
Wow. That was great. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming.
What's the name of your child, sorry?
Aurora. Wow, beautiful.
Aurora.
Die komt even binnen.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
all.
right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you everybody. You want to say thanks?
Yes, thank you, Pablo, very much.
Yes, Pablo.
Thank you.
Wonderful excuse.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's keep it happening.
Yes.
And nice to meet you all. And I'm amazed that you stayed all the way to the end. So that means that there is something important happening, and that is the need for connection. So thank you very much for being here.
Masha danki. Masha danki.
Terima kasih.
Grantangi.
Heel erg dank dat jullie er waren. En ik wens jullie nog een hele fijne avond en graag in cirkel terugzien.
Doen we.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Gracias.
Gracias y buenas noches. Chao.